Layoffs. Let's talk about layoffs, ladies and gentlemen, before we get over into other parts of the show. I want to talk about layoffs. So Stellantis, when y'all win those contracts, for a long time, Stellantis has been laying off people all across the board. They've laid off all of their temporary workers. They've been laying off engineers. They've been laying off people within corporate America in order to cover the cost that's associated with continuing to pass the cost over to the consumers and these labor agreements as one. But I'm pretty sure that the union don't care anything about white collar workers, which they shouldn't. They shouldn't. I find it funny that union members want us to make sure that we support them, but I'm pretty sure that they don't want to support other workers that's not a part of the union. Let me say that again. Nobody shed a tear. Nobody shed one tear when all of those engineers over at Stellantis got the boot on a Zoom call. Nobody tripped. Not one person shed a tear. But when the union was doing their thing and it was advocating for their higher wages, everybody had to honk their horn. Everybody had to support union members the whole 9 yards. Because you know what it is? Those engineers, regardless of how many tears that they got, you eat what you kill. You absolutely eat what you kill. 100%. Let me share with you what happened over at Stellantis the other day, and then we're going to continue over with the show.
Came as quite the surprise out here at the Sterling Heights Assembly Plant on Friday when they started handing out 199 indefinite layoff notices to employees here, especially when you consider that they make the bread and butter for this company, the Ram 1500 pickup truck. The industry's been expecting a downturn, and now it's shown up. This is the notice they received on Friday telling them they're laid off starting Monday, April 22nd. The company's going to file their unemployment claims for them. Unwelcome and unexpected to UAW Local 1700 President Michael Spencer, telling Local 4, quote, "I find it disappointing and disgusting and a disservice to the employees who are currently employed and those employees who were released through mass termination from Stellantis since the ratification of the 2023 contract."
What did you think was going to happen, bro? What did you think was going to happen? If the company needs to make some adjustments or they can't pass all of the cost over to the consumers, what did you think was going to happen after you ratified the contract? You didn't think that it was going to be some bloodshed? I'm pretty sure people ain't tripping. Most of the people ain't tripping because a lot of the people got the raises and the promotions and the contracts. And so the only thing that matters, listen, the only reason that people rock out with the union as hard as they rock out with the union is because it benefits them. It's not that they actually believe that everybody else needs to benefit as a result of it. They're not willing to share that pain. They're not willing to do none of that. Yo, I'm winning. I could feed my family. And so they got the same mentality and the same capitalistic mindset as the rest of the world. They got the same mentality and the same capitalistic mindset as the rest of the world. Man, ain't no solidarity in that unless we all advocating for us to be able to do it. And you guess who care the most? The people that care the most is the ones that got the most seniority because they're the ones that's going to benefit the most.
Tract, end quote. Stellantis' response tells us it's just the beginning, though. Quote, "The company will be implementing indefinite layoffs across its U.S. footprint over the coming months. These actions will help improve productivity and ensure the company's long-term sustainability in a rapidly changing global market."
We getting people up out of there. We getting people. Listen, we not adding no more jobs, ain't adding no more plants. We gonna trim this as much as we can trim it, as fast as we can trim it, and then we gonna see what happens on this next deal and this next ratification and this next contract that we do. We gonna trim the workforce slowly but surely. We gonna move products up out of there. We gonna meet whatever minimum obligation that we gotta meet as far as the ratification of that contract, and we getting these people up out of there. And they gonna be investing more money, not in the people. They're gonna be investing every single dollar that they can into automating the process, maximizing margins, and eliminating people. This is what y'all not going to see on y'all UAW website.
Ensure the company's long-term sustainability in a rapidly changing global market.
Too many vehicles have been built up over the last 6 months.
Auto Forecast Solutions analyst Sam Fiorani says that Stellantis is adjusting to a sales slowdown. AFS inventory numbers show that Jeep currently operates at about 130 days supply of vehicles, while Ram is at 150. Automakers usually like to run at about 90 days for trucks and 60 for cars. And he looks to higher inflation and last fall's stand-up strike as part of why this is happening.
Where they had built up vehicles before the strike. And then the strike didn't last as long as it wasn't as deep as they expected. So there's extra vehicles there.
And Stellantis looks to compete with its smaller domestic competitors in this SEV transition.
North America is very important to the overall company. And so making sure that they make their profits here so they can pay for a lot of things around the world, especially as more investment is moving towards electric vehicles and other technologies.
And when it
should I buy a Hellcat? What do you mean? Mm-mm. You didn't even think about it. Well, I'm not buying it to drive it. I'm buying it to add it as a part of the collection because I know that this is the last run of them as far as the V8s. The supercharged V8s. They may put some twin turbocharged V6s.
Those cars got the devil in it.
The cars don't have the devil in them. It's the drivers. Well, I bought a Bronco when I said I was going to buy a Bronco I said I was going to buy a Ford vehicle if they ratified their contract, if they got a deal done. I could just keep it in the garage and have it, you know what I'm saying, have it as a collector's item. You know, I ain't driving that car like that. Why wouldn't I have it as a collector's item?
comes to that bloated inventory,
I'm telling you, over time, that car is going to be so coveted, Rita, because they're not making no more. And so you hold on to it. You keep one with a little bit of miles on it. That car is going to more than double in value over a period of time. I'm telling you, those cars are going to be the 96 Impalas, the 2004, 2003, 2004 Mercury Marauders of their times. Get out of my hotel room.
As he expects to see these kinds of layoffs happen at the Warren Truck Plant where they make the Wagoneer, and also at Jeep plants in Detroit and Toledo. In Sterling Heights, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
But let me pivot for a second, because you know what's been happening with Stellantis that they have not been talking about in the advertising, and I haven't even been talking about it because there's so many other things that I had to focus on the Millionaire Morning Show. This is what's been happening with all of the workers over at Stellantis.
Now, and Stellantis cut hundreds of temporary workers this weekend at the Jeep assembly complex. They tell us they learned of it by getting a call yesterday saying they were terminated. Our Andre Norrells, he spoke to some of those former workers. He joins us now live outside the Jeep assembly complex. What did they tell you, Andre?
Well, Jeff, some of them are telling me that they're pretty upset. Now, just a few months ago, we were here at Jeep when thousands of workers were out here on strike. One of those things they were fighting for was to roll over temporary workers into full-time employees. But now some of those same workers are finding out they're not going to get rolled over. They're out.
To wake up on a Sunday morning to get that call after you've worked Saturday night for 9.5 hours, and to wake up and get that call, it's a little devastating. It's very depressing. You're left stuck.
Lavinia Thornton, Rosalind Robertson, and Starla Woods are part of the 341 workers who say they're without a job after receiving this call.
And you will no longer be scheduled for work with Stellantis.
Not even
Oh, that's crazy, yo. I'm fighting to get all of the temporary workers back over. Chrysler was like, we're going to go ahead and get y'all up out of here, fam.
a human being, it's a robocall. It's a computer that's telling you you're terminated.
I cried all day.
Thornton says she worked for Jeep years ago, left, and then came back last year.
I left a lot of jobs and came back because it was a job security, so it's like they took my whole lifestyle.
She says yesterday was actually her 1-year anniversary since she returned. Thornton says she's a single mom with 4 kids and feels she's been left with nothing.
They left us with 1 paycheck. They left us with no help with job placement. They helped us with...
That's supposed to be the union's job, baby. The union job is supposed to help you with that. You're part of the union. You got let go right after you became a part of the. But you're a part of it. That baby, that's the union's job to hold you down.
No severance pay, just thanks for your your job.
Oh, we
You
get
had
about a month of insurance. That's about it.
the rest of this month.
Yeah.
The company says in a statement in part, quote, following an operational review and to ensure compliance with contractual commitments, the company is reducing the number of supplemental employees across much of our U.S. footprint. The company goes on to say this action will help improve the efficiency, productivity, and market competitiveness of our facilities. But that's no consolation for these former workers.
Women are the ones that are the most heavily affected by what happens in the job market. I'm telling you.
Who are asking for the UAW's help.
Where are the people that are above this, that's supposed to be working on this contract at that time? Where is our help from them?
Now, the Local 12 chairman says that out of those fired temporary workers, 50 of them will be kept on a little bit longer, then also fired later at a later.
Jesus Christ. But see, it's not just central to y'all. It's not just central to y'all. You know who this also happens to? I believe that part of the reason why Apple decided to kill Project Titan. Do you guys know what Project Titan was? Project Titan was the program that Apple was investing in order to eventually become a part of the auto manufacturing process, possibly create a plant, create a brand new car, and then compete with the likes of other automakers and become another version of what Tesla is today within the auto industry and to revolutionize it. But I believe that not only did they not see a business case for it, but they also seen a writing on the wall. And more importantly, they seen the level of politics and the difficulty of dealing with and opening up the manufacturing facilities needed in order to eventually build these cars in the United States of America. I honestly believe that that also factored into the decision. But you know what happened? The very people, when they killed that program over at Apple, all of the engineers, everybody that was researching, civil engineers, not civil engineers, mechanical engineers, software engineers, everybody that was a part of that project, if they can't find you another position within the company for you to be able to contribute into, they got them up out of there. 600 workers in California got them up out of there.
600 workers received layoff notices from Apple, its latest round of tech worker layoffs in the Bay Area. KTV's James Torres here to tell us what we know about why Apple is making the move and how we're learning about it. James?
Allie, good morning. Well, for practically the entirety of the pandemic, Apple was able to avoid some of those large, massive layoffs. We saw that in the thousands for other tech giants. And while Apple's numbers are much smaller than compared to the rest, tech experts say it's still a sign of the times and an insight into what it takes to run this kind of business. It's mostly spelled out in state records. According to California's Employment Development Department, or the EDD, Apple notified its employees of a layoff last week. The company filed a working adjustment and retraining notification, also known as a WARN report, with the EDD, and those records show 614 total Apple employees were told they are being let go from 8 offices in Santa Clara County. The question is, for those employees and the industry, what happens next?
The one thing that I think a lot of people who watch the tech industry are trying to figure out is if this is the end of the layoffs. You know, there are hundreds of people who have been laid off from Apple. That's far smaller than the thousands upon thousands of people we saw laid off from Google and Facebook and whatnot. So it may be that this is actually a sign that maybe this is the end of the layoffs. But make no mistake, there are still hundreds of people who are now going to be searching for a job.
Experts suggest those employees were likely working on Apple's self-driving car project, which had been dubbed Project Titan within the company. Apple scrapped those plans earlier this year after...
And they're not playing no games. And so it's bloodbath everywhere. Which is really funny for those Google workers that got fired for protesting inside of their CEO's office. Never said that you couldn't protest. Never said that you couldn't do something on your own time. But they were protesting inside of the CEO's office, defacing, causing a problem for other workers that work there, so on and so forth, right? And that actually is interesting to me because It seems like this is the worst possible time, especially working in certain industries, for you to be losing your job and losing your ability to be able to feed yourself. Whatever it is that's going on, listen, we knew during the migrant crisis that Biden and a lot of these organizations are going to do whatever it is that they want to do when they want to do it. They don't even trip off of y'all no more. They not even checking for y'all as far as the protests and whether you're getting arrested and stuff like that. Look, stand on what y'all stand on. Believe whatever it is that you believe. Don't fumble the bag while you're doing it. Stand on what you stand on. Believe what you want to believe. Don't fumble the bag while you're doing it. This is not the time to be losing sources of income, ladies and gentlemen. Be very, very careful. Be very, very intentional. And take care of the bag, okay?